Welcome to a tutorial about how to get new assets from the marketplace of any tool in Modumate. Within Modumate, there are a series of tools that leverage BIM assemblies to create content in your scene. Hopefully, if you've studied our videos, you understand that in the massing graph, you can lay out the areas of a building, and then you use the BIM assembly tools to promote these into real construction content. So using things like the line tool and the rectangle tool, you can create structures that are very simple or very complex. This could become a high-rise, it could become a very complex single-family home, but this is the massing graph, and the important thing is that these other assemblies are what turn these construction objects, these assemblies into this massing graph into construction assemblies. Now, every tool has out-of-the-box content, but there's also a marketplace of additional assemblies that go beyond that initial short list, found in any tool. And as of version 3.8, released in April 2023, there is a tool, the Furniture, Fixtures, and Equipment tool, that has a large category of new furniture, especially to do with people, trees, and a couple of new cars as well. So as we scroll down here, we're going to find some people here, for example. Looks like as new assets, they don't quite have their icons yet. If we want to add people to our scenes for the sake of showing good renderings, we can add people from that marketplace. If we want to add any, we used to have fairly simple trees down in the bottom of the list, but we now have 50 or 60 new trees. So this was an old tree, tree 16, for example. And now if we go for some of the new trees, like this one here, tree 11, let's go randomly, tree 24, adding them to my project. And what's happening is these assets are arriving into my FF&E tool, but they are being streamed from the cloud. They were not installed on my local machine. And this is a big difference between Modumate and older software. When you install that old software, it comes with every asset. And until recently, that's how Modumate's structure worked as well. All these out-of-the-box trees are installed on your machine, but we will be extending the universe of assets on our cloud library in a way that when you click on one and say add it to my project, it streams to your machine. There's lots of information associated to this tree, but this is an example of a new tree that you did not have before April 2021, and now a new category of, a forest, such as a coniferous forest, could now be modeled. For context, the previous trees looked more like this, which, while not bad, don't have the same level of realism, as you can hopefully see here. The leaves are still fairly detailed. They still move. I think both the trees' leaves move, but the shading and the way light passes through this tree is a little more realistic. So there's now 60 new trees, and there's new rocks and logs and all sorts of ways to populate your nature. I can also put down a smaller new tree. So hopefully when you look at these two trees, you see that there's a new level of quality being reached, and they are being streamed to your machine, so you don't have to install all the assets that we intend to add. We will be adding new assets to our library at all times, and we'll be emailing our community often about what we add. But as of the first week of April 2023, it was 60 trees and 10 people and 2 new cars. And once again, to get to this type of new library, all you have to do in any assembly, especially the FF&E tool, is click on the marketplace icon in the top corner of this asset tray, and you will get the whole universe of assets that you can go browse and click the green add button to enrich the list of furniture that you go after. So here, I think there's a particularly tall tree here that's I'm going to add to the project, and I'm going to go back, grab it and place it. Oh, it's still loading. This is important to point out because it has several dozen megabytes of content, all the textures and meshes required to make this tree work. It will take a second when you download before you're actually able to use the asset. But if you just wait for a moment, especially if you've clicked add on many presets in rapid fire, they will all form a bit of a logjam of downloading. Based on your internet speed, it may be just a few seconds, it may be possibly a few minutes before all the assets are available. But that is how you end up creating entirely new assets coming from the library that were not installed on your machine, and you can begin to populate your scene with whatever you'd like. Happy modeling with Modumate!